by Skype and returning guest and a really, really good friend. And I can actually say this, I love this young man, is Patrick Whitten, all the way from Thunder Bay. Hey, Patrick, how you doing, honey?
Hi, Joy. I'm well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, my God. It is my pleasure, handsome. You're looking good.
Thank you. Thank you. And you as well.
Thank you. Have you been working out or what?
I run. I run actually a lot of times after work. Just because I'm in Northern Ontario, there's a lot of great spots and trails to kind of get out. In high school, I actually used to run cross country, so I still like to stay with it.
Good for you. That's definitely, how would I say, you're focused, committed. That's good. That's good.
It's a good way to clear my head.
That's right. Good way to clear your head. We haven't seen you in how many years now? Is it what, 4 years? 3 years?
I think last time I came down was 2016 when we did the show. So yeah, about 4 years now.
Okay, and that was in the studio, right?
That's right.
So
yeah.
my love, we haven't seen you. You were working, you were doing different initiatives, great leadership, but now reintroduce yourself to the viewers again, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, so I believe last time I was on, the first time I was on the show, I think it was either 2013 or 2014, and at that time I was serving as the student trustee on the Simcoe County District School Board.
Right.
So providing events to high school students and elementary students, to the Board of Trustees. After that, I think in 2016 when we spoke, I was on the board of directors of my student union, where I served as the board. After that, I stayed in my college and I served as the student governor for my college, sitting on the board of governors, providing leadership and insight and direction on policies for our school. And with that, I had a lot of different other leadership opportunities to meet with other college presidents from all across Ontario and share my insight and perspective. And then after graduating college, I've been out in British Columbia studying at the University of Northern BC, where I've been working on my undergrad in nature-based tourism with a specialization in Indigenous and cultural tourism. With all that going on, in the summertime, I work for Ontario Parks. So right now I'm in Northwestern Ontario at Blue Lake Provincial Park.
Oh my God. Can I ask you to repeat all that again? No. Having fun with you, having fun. Patrick, that's a lot. That is a lot. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of things because, again, now we're dealing with the pandemic. We're dealing with different types of platforms, but how was it that you have dealt with the pandemic? It started out in March of this year, I believe, the last of February and the ending of March. How is it that you have taken it on? How is it? How is it you've dealt with it in a sense?
You know what? You can really only take it one day at a time. When things started kind of unpacking and when it was really starting to impact Canada a little bit more in March, there was a lot of uncertainty back then in my own personal life and just with work as well. Working in the tourism sector, there was some uncertainty, will I still be employed? And kind of on my own personal side, I was still in British Columbia. And so I made the decision to, when school went online, to come back to Ontario just so I could be a little bit closer to my family. Just should things kind of shut down even more, should maybe interprovincial borders close, I really wanted to be back home and back with the people that are closest with me, my mom and dad. And that way I could help out around the house with anything that they needed. So yeah, I would say really at first when things were kind of happening in March, it was really taking things one day at a time. I really tuned in every day to the press conferences that the Prime Minister was making, just to kind of get that really valuable information. Same thing, I would tune into the announcements that the Premier was making, just to be able to stay up to date. But it was definitely challenging, and it was challenging not being able to see other friends and family but understanding that, keeping that distance was the best way to keep everyone safe.
All right. I'm going to ask you a lot more questions related to COVID-19, but now you are a manager there, correct? Like you run it, right?
Yeah, so my position at the park is the assistant superintendent. So I oversee all the day-to-day operations.
Okay. Now you have staff underneath you, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So how many people that are underneath you as employees?
Yeah. So this year we have about 20 staff that are underneath me as employees.
Okay. Now, how has that been with, again, the tourism, keeping that positive, engaging people to keep traveling, visiting the parks, not feeling it's unsafe, and keeping them motivated as well as yourself? How is that being a leader? That's what I'm going to.
So I think I'll start this on the staff perspective, and then maybe I'll kind of jump into this with the public and the tourism side. On the staff, as a leader, you have to ensure that staff are working safely and providing those reminders. But it also means organizing PPE and getting proper disinfecting supplies and cleaning supplies together. Especially with COVID-19, everyone's trying to access those resources. So it's trying to get those supplies in place and ensuring that you've got enough PPE and supplies for your staff to be able to work safely. And as I mentioned too, it's providing that additional training, having those awkward conversations or those conversations that maybe you don't necessarily know all the answers to, but just trying to have that open communication as a team to move forward. From a public kind of standpoint and with tourism, the tourism sector all across Canada has obviously taken a big hit. And tourism in many communities across Ontario and across the country are really the beating heart of the economy. Back home, I think of Wasaga Beach Provincial Park, how they really rely on the tourism industry. You have Blue Mountains, where you're maybe not getting as many visitors as you would in a normal year. And right now in Northwestern Ontario, I know a lot of the within the tourism industry, folks that have taken a hit have been fishing camps and fishing lodges, where a lot of their clientele coming up is clientele from the United States. And so they're not getting those visitors this year, and they're really relying on folks within the province and folks locally to kind of provide that support. So we're definitely encouraging, staycations. Get out and see your province, get out and see your community. There's a lot that you maybe don't know about or haven't explored.
When you say staycation, that's new. Who came up with that one?
Yeah. Staycation. It's definitely been floated around in the tourism sector for a bit now. And essentially what a staycation is just exactly that, is having a getaway, a small getaway, but within your own local region. And so, like I said, there's a lot of things that we don't necessarily realize or have ever had a chance to experience that, maybe this is the year to kind of support those businesses, our neighbors in our community, and have that staycation.
Right. So now what are your hours out there? Like, what are your hours like? Because now you are a mentor for a lot of young people that are looking at going to post-secondary, going back to school, and establishing their lives. You're from our community here in Alliston. You've been a great leader and a great voice. But how is it that your message to them in sticking with what they love? Because you stuck with what you love. You left home, Patrick, at such a young age. You took chances. You took risks. So what are your words to them?
Yeah, so certainly in terms of hours and when I'm working, being in the tourism sector, you work weekends and holidays, and you're working to provide people those opportunities to kind of get outside. So yeah, it's lots of really busy days, really busy long weekends. But with that, when you're really passionate about something, it means putting in that hard work and that dedication. And that is not necessarily within the tourism sector. That could be, if you're studying to become a nurse, or if you're working in a long-term care home right now. When you're really passionate about something and you love something and you're working toward an end goal, it's way more rewarding when you reach your goals or your achievements, and you can look back and you look back at the hard work that you put in and that dedication, and maybe all those days that, you know, you kind of felt down and you wanted to give up and you kind of questioned things, when you finally reach that goal or that achievement, it makes it all more worthwhile, your time and your dedication. And, you know, you learn and you grow from personal hardships as well, and challenging experiences.
Did you ever have your, how did I say this? Did you ever have your child second guess your choices in your career? Did you ever second guess, okay, is this right? Oh my gosh, am I doing the right thing? It's too hard. Like, that goes for a lot of young people's brains right now.
Certainly. And I think, you know, when a lot of people are thinking of going off to school, like post-secondary education, not to shy away from it, like it's expensive, right? And if you're relying on programs like OSAP for student loans and whatnot, you want to make sure that you're making the best out of your investment, and you're going to a program that you're going to find work out of and that you're going to enjoy, and you know, and that you're not going to change programs a little bit as you're studying, which is completely okay. You know, I did that myself in my own personal studies in my degree, changing from a Bachelor of Science to a Bachelor of Arts, still with the same area of focus, although just kind of realizing my skills and where my passions were aligning and kind of making those changes. So it's definitely, you know, it's a big step in, you know, trying to find employment these days as a youth, and especially with COVID-19, has made things a little bit more challenging for young people to get jobs. It's just continuing to, you know, to not give up, and to kind of, again, just have your goal in mind, and realizing why it's worth it, and, you know, kind of reminding yourself of that. It's, you know, sometimes it might be helpful if you are questioning things, you know, write down a pros and cons list. And I often find, you know, the pros always outweigh the cons, and you're always able to find a different solution.
That's why I love you so much, you know, honey. I can genuinely say that because I'm listening to you. I'm listening to all these youths throwing questions. The next one's going to have some youth on side of the screen talking to you as being their mentor. On that note, we got to go to break. We'll come back, guys, with Patrick Whitten. Love you, buddy. Right back.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
On Rogers TV, we have a reality show like no other. It has a great cast of characters. Some you may have even helped land the role. Each episode has something different. Plans are devised, decisions are made, votes are cast, and money is spent. It's local reality TV that you won't want to miss. And it's exclusive to Rogers cable customers. Catch your municipal council coverage on Rogers TV. Visit rogerstv.com for broadcast details.
Welcome back with Patrick Whitten. Patrick, just as a reminder, okay, because geographically I am not the best on stuff, but just to kind of remind the viewers of where you are, where you actually are. Where are you?
Yeah, so, you know, no fault of your own, Ontario is a huge, huge province.
Yes.
So where I am right now is in northwestern Ontario. I'm about 4 hours actually west of Thunder Bay, about 40 minutes west of Dryden. So right in between Dryden and Kenora.
Wow. Now, when you came back to visit Alliston, how long of a you drove, right?
So when I came back from British Columbia, I drove. But if I'm working in the summertime, just because, as I mentioned earlier, it's kind of tough to get a lot of time off, especially
Right.
a long weekends and holidays. I'll usually drive to Winnipeg and fly from Winnipeg into Toronto.
Oh my good God. What makes you so tough, Patrick? What makes you such a trooper? We're going to delve into other stuff, but these are I think of how you think, of what they want to ask you if you were in front of them. What makes you just keep going and not looking at the option, looking at the goal and the dream? What drives you, hon?
You know what? I think that's a good question. I think it's resiliency. As I mentioned just a little bit earlier, I think it's those personal hardships and those challenges that I've gone through motivate me to continue reaching my goals. I would say, yeah, it's definitely resiliency. What motivates me the most.
Okay. What challenges have you been through, my love? Like, okay, you're doing all these great things, all right? A lot of young people looking and going, okay, he's out there, he's doing his thing, he's got his degree, he's gone to BC, now he's out there doing what he wants to do, what he went to school for, and he navigated through his degree. You modified the degree to format what you wanted to do, am I correct?
That's right, yeah.
All right, so what I'm saying is now, what challenges did you go through, though? It wasn't just a walk in the park, because you and I have talked off screen, okay? So what challenges did you get through to end up where you are today?
Yeah. So to kind of start, when I was in school, in high school, I definitely was bullied. And that's a problem that's facing almost every student in every school across the province, across the country, really. And so I believe, I was kind of bullied because I was different. I didn't fit in necessarily with some of my peers. And I think to me that was the reason why at the time is I was coming out, or I was questioning my own sexuality. So when I was coming out of the closet, I openly identify as a gay man. But when I was coming out, especially growing up in a smaller community, and Pride wasn't as big as it is now. And even since when I was in high school, we've moved mountains in terms of acceptance and visibility. Although there's still a lot of work to do, certainly, and I'm not taking away from the work that's left to do. I think that being different and being open about who I was definitely made things a little bit more challenging for myself. On top of bullying, I was also dealing with mental illness. So in high school, in grade 9, I was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety. And, coping with mental illness is challenging for anyone. But I think coping with mental illness when you're being bullied creates a whole new level of those challenges. And, I struggled with my own personal identity. I struggled to really see a future past high school and even to kind of see what's laying for me the next day. And so, and as I was kind of touching on resiliency earlier, when I was going through those issues, like I said, a lot of the days were kind of cloudy and it was kind of hard to see forward. But now, working through it, I went through counseling and, working with my doctor, going on medication and being open, with friends and family about, what I was going through, and having those supports in place really made a big impact for me. So I would say, to anyone else who's a young person, or whether you're an adult and you've got your own family, reaching out to resources such as counseling, such as your family doctor, they provide a huge level of support. And, sometimes the biggest thing to do is just to reach out and ask for help.
Right. On the status line there at the show, it says, navigating to the new normal. Now, let's be honest, a lot of young people out there like yourself have develop more of a mental issue of depression, anxiety through this because they couldn't go anywhere. Now we're in phase 3. They can go and sit on the patio. But now when you had dealt with it yourself, being young, out there, away from home, away from your wonderful family, which I know very, very well, okay? How is it that you navigated through that with COVID? You couldn't just go outside or do anything. What was the tools that you applied, Patrick?
I think for starters, as I mentioned, every day when I was tuning into the news and the media to listen for those important updates, it was just as important to me to also turn off the news and the media sometimes, because some of the conversations were always COVID and always kind of focusing on a little bit more of the negative or the unknown. And, that does take a toll on you. We're human. And, when you're listening to this every single day, it sometimes can impact you. So, it's definitely, for me, it was taking a break from my cell phone, taking a break from social media, taking a little bit of a break from news when I could, just so I could try to focus on other aspects in my life. And COVID-19 wasn't solely consuming my personal life. As I mentioned earlier, like I do enjoy running, getting outside. Luckily, I'm very fortunate to be able to work in Northwestern Ontario. And so a lot of times I'll go kayaking or, go for a hike. But really kind of being in the North and being away from friends and family, it's using these methods as, as we're talking right now, whether it's Zoom, Skype, FaceTime, Google Hangouts, it's using those sources.
Okay, I had to interject. Google Hangouts, what's that?
It's just another platform that Google has, like for messaging and whatnot.
Okay, all right, okay. So you kept
keep track of now.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. So we're breaking up. What did you say?
I said there's way too many platforms to kind of keep track of.
Trust me, at my age, I am learning. I am definitely learning. Who's your mentors in your life, honey? Like, because it's his future prospects, they're looking to every single tool when they look at this show to put in place. But who are the mentors that kept you getting through COVID? Let's be honest, it wasn't a walk in the park, but other issues that they deal with now. Now they're looking to go back to school, they're looking to meet new people, they're looking for relationships. Like, I'm my age, I'm married, I'm settled. But now for young people, it's a whole different world they've got to navigate through. So who was the one that helped you keep on track?
Oh, it's I wouldn't say it's just one person. I'd say it's a few kind of close people in my network. My parents, for one. Yes. Being able to talk to my parents and being able for them to listen to me and to hear kind of my feelings or how things are going on in my life, and then vice versa to hear from them and to be able to bounce back support and guidance. My parents are always number one, really, for me as my mentors. Throughout university, I've had an excellent professor, Pam Wright. She's been, an incredible support and really goes above and beyond really the true definition or role as a teacher. So Pam has been great help. And then for me, I would say my partner Cole has also been a huge support in this as well. Again, just being able to pick up the phone and have those conversations each day.
Okay, what's his name?
Cole.
Cole. Okay, yeah. All right, beautiful.
And he's in Alberta right now.
Okay, beautiful. So tell us a little bit about there, hon. Living out there, what's it like? What do you love about being where you are? Share about the nature, the outside, because I'm still a city girl, okay? I'm still a city girl, Patrick, okay? I'm still adjusting to living out here. I am. So share with the viewers what you love out there and how beautiful it is.
I think the first thing is just the natural beauty. There's kind of those moments where, you're watching a beautiful sunset or, you're just outside and, it's a great day. It's just kind of those few moments that kind of catch your breath and you're able to kind of pause and just kind of things seem still. Or like whenever I'm in kind of a natural setting, let's say I'm in, hiking in British Columbia or I'm in Jasper National Park, for example. One of the things I would think about is, this waterfall is always doing this 24/7. When I'm not here, when other people aren't here, like it's always just being this beautiful and just kind of reflecting on being in the moment, and recognizing where you are in the moment and kind of being able to tune out things in the outside world. I think another thing that what I love so much about being up here and especially being in the park is you get to meet visitors from all over. Usually in a normal year without COVID, we get many international visitors to the area who are traveling maybe the Trans-Canada Highway. So you can meet people all over the world. But then you maybe meet some locals from within the area, or maybe, being close to Manitoba, you're meeting a lot of different families from Winnipeg. So for me, it's those moments that, you get to talk with a kid when you're out in the park, and, they get to kind of ask you questions about your job and ask you questions about the parks. Like those are the best moments that I love, because I kind of reflected, when I was a kid growing up and going camping on our family vacations.
Okay. So now when people visit, what is the protocol that happens? Because we haven't done any camping. I've heard of friends that have done it, that have started to do it. But what is the protocol that you do there with visitors coming into the parks? Like you camp there, right? You have camping?
Yeah, so there's camping at our park, and then we also have day use opportunities. So folks who come in just to use the beach or the trails for the day. Okay,
so now the camping now, it's different now. You can't be wandering all over the place. So what is it when a new person comes into your beautiful park out there, all right? What is the protocols that they got to do? What is what they do?
So certainly, we're encouraging visitors to bring their own supplies of, food, water, hand sanitizer, to limit the need to go into to the small grocery stores that are kind of nearby. Hand sanitizer is a huge key thing. In terms of kind of the operations of things, we've had to make changes to our office, putting in kind of a walk-up window. So we're only having one person in the office and another person, able to check in at the window, just kind of changing, adapting, seeing what works. And that's really how the whole summer has really been, is trying to put something in place, see how it works, make some changes to it, or keep it if it is working. In terms of the visitor use, it's reminding and educating visitors to be physically distant from each other. And more on the operations side, it's providing enhanced cleaning for those common areas such as water taps and washrooms.
Right. I'm gonna let you go here, honey. I'm gonna go to break, because I just forgot to press my stopwatch. So, guys, oh my God. Love you, buddy. We'll be right back, guys. Future Skype.
When I felt scared, United Way had my back. 5 years ago, I was a stay-at-home mom with 4 children, including one with special needs, and I was facing divorce. I needed a job fast and to figure out how to help my kids and myself through a difficult transition as gently as possible. With United Way funding, my kids were matched with mentors who provided guidance, attention, and a listening ear, which helped as I dealt with legal details and took job preparation classes. Now I see myself as a successful single mom who taught my kids how to become better, not bitter. My name's Kim, and donations to United Way Simcoe Muskoka helped change my life. Thank you.
What kind of show do you want to see on Rogers TV? What interests you? Log on to rogerstv.com, fill out a show proposal, and tell us about your segment idea. We want to know what you want to see. Rogers TV, only on Rogers.
Welcome back to Future Prospects with Patrick. Patrick Whitten. Oh my God, Patrick, your words of wisdom, my friend, are huge, 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 huge. Okay, the uncertainty of tourism. I'm going to get into some other things that you would like to address with the viewers, but I want to, uncertainty of tourism, you never, never knew. You've got your degree, you've got your work all planned out for you. Boom, COVID happened. How is it that you dealt with that? Like, what was your uncertainties? What was your questions? Like, did you inundate the town? How did you get through? Like, how was it that you dealt with it? You're young. This is your future, right?
Yeah, I think the first kind of thing that, as I mentioned, was to get home, was to be closer with friends or family, to then at least know that with everything else going on or with the uncertainty, at least I was close to the people in my life. And in terms of, I think, the tourism sector of, being unsure whether you're going to have a job this summer, I was already trying to think ahead, what's plan B? Should I not have a job this summer because maybe parks are closed, because, we're in stage 1 or phase 1 for longer than we might be. It was kind of thinking where can I find a job around town? Where can I help out? Can I volunteer possibly? To me, one of the things that was really going through my mind was actually long-term care. We are hearing those alarming stories of long-term care. And I remember growing up, my grandfather was in a long-term care home, and just seeing, the need for support, whether it's on a volunteer role. I was really thinking kind of, having that in the back of my mind as a possible plan, just to keep busy, to possibly be able to make some money. Yeah, I was just trying to think of, where, if I was laid off, where could I put myself or my skill set to use within the community?
Right. Now you're from Alliston, which you love. You love this place. You love Alliston. Look, you're shaking your head. Look.
Oh yeah, I love. Yeah.
When I even say the word Alliston, you just light up. What does this community mean to you, honey? Because, okay, you're out there. I know you're going to end up back here some way, somehow. I don't know, but you will. I just can see it. But what does the town community mean to you? What does the meaning of community mean to you, honey? Alliston, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I think, community and just thinking of Alliston are really intertwined because, I think what kind of comes to me is those connections that we have. Although it is a small town, you're able to have really meaningful relationships with people and still be able to make new connections and networks all the time. So I think it's, it's the way that folks take care of each other and look after each other within the community, whether it's, supporting local restaurants because they're not getting, maybe as much traffic coming through. So, folks are doing takeout. Or maybe it's, you see when you're driving by and you see, the signs thanking frontline workers. To me, Alliston, it really has that community sense of people look out for each other.
That is true. That is very, very true. Do you ever see yourself coming back, ending up back here? Do you ever see yourself coming back here?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love the community so much. And right now, this is just, a chapter in my life where, working on school and working in the north to build experience so I can come back and work closer to home. But, the older I get, the more I realize how important family is and how much I really want to be closer with my friends and family. And being up in northwestern Ontario right now, I'm about a 2-day drive away from home.
Right.
So yeah, certainly I do want to come home. I'm always looking for opportunities, employment opportunities that can kind of bring me back closer to home, whether that's in, the Collingwood area, whether it's in the Alliston area, somewhere, within Simcoe County. It would be ideal. I love Simcoe County. I think it's one of the best places in Ontario.
Okay, so why? Why do you love Simcoe County now? Why? I know what you love about Alliston, but I'm going to go somewhere else. What I'd ask, let me restate that, what I'm going to say. If you were to come back, what would you like to do? What would be your footprint in the sand? There you go. What would be your footprint in the sand if you were to come back here?
Oh, you know what? I obviously I'd love to still be able to work within the parks or the tourism sector. There's a lot of great provincial parks and other tourism areas. You know, we've got a Wenda Provincial Park closer to Midland. We've got Wasaga Beach Provincial Park. We have Earl Rowe Provincial Park. It'd be great to be able to come back and work in parks, or whether it's Georgian Bay Islands National Park, kind of closer to Honey Harbor. But, you know, I've got a lot of other passions and skills. For the past, I think, 6 years now, I've volunteered with an organization called Motivate Canada. And I think we discussed it last time I was on the show, actually. I wouldn't mind getting involved more with a charitable organization or an organization that works with youth in the community. So I'm open to possibilities. You know, when one door closes, another one opens. And just because, you know, I have these skill sets in parks, I would love to experience a different opportunity as well. So I'm open to anything.
So besides the parks now, and we've talked a lot about the parks, but I want to go to the deeper part of why makes Patrick. Youth is big for you. Youth, the mental health, but also the youth, if it be here in Alliston or surrounding or Aboriginals. And how is it that, what changes would you like to be in place? Why is it that you were on those boards? I want to talk from in here now, Patrick, right? Because there is more to you than what you really, really do so well. So what is it that you love? What kind of measure would you like to do with our youth? Because there is leaders, but there is not leaders. There's some that talk but don't apply. And you and I have had conversations in a restaurant here. We've had conversations on Skype. So what is your leadership that you would like to apply with young people, if I'm making any sense at all?
Yeah, for sure. 100% it makes sense. To me, I think we need more diverse voices. And that includes youth voices in decision-making, in organizations, whether it be, you know, on a school level, whether it be at the town council level or at the provincial level. I think we need more youth voices. And really, if we think about it, you know, our youth are the future. You know, we need to be able to have a voice in the decisions that are being made today, because not only will they affect us tomorrow, they'll also affect our kids when we're raising a family. And I think that's why it's really important is to ensure that young people have opportunities, not opportunities that, you know, might just be just for show, but real meaningful opportunities where youth can actually make a difference and their voice matters. And that, you know, folks in charge are able to put in concrete steps to address the challenges that youth are addressing, whether that be our environment, whether that be the cost of housing, whether that be employment opportunities.
Do you have concern for the future right now when it comes to yourselves? Right? Do you have concerns, real concerns? What are your real concerns you have, hon?
I would say yes and no. I would say, you know, certainly, you know, concerns that I would kind of share, and I think maybe other young people share, is, you know, you watch on the news right now is a lot of young people are demanding equality and justice, and really just basic human rights for everyone. And I think with that, you know, I watch the news and I watch youth protesting, or I watch youth taking on additional leadership roles. And it actually gives me a lot of hope for this. I really believe that, you know, this generation of leaders is going to step up and create real action. I think this generation of leaders, you know, as you mentioned, you know, some leaders talk, but this generation, I believe, they're energetic and they're going to see real action because they know the impacts that it makes, and they know that we can't wait any longer.
Right. Do you have any concern about climate change? Like, I am really getting involved in that now. Do you have any concerns about that? Because the world is showing some different signs. Do you have any? Because this is what you're going to inherit. Your generation, not me, your generation.
Certainly. I think, yeah, working in, you know, the kind of the tourism sector and working in parks and in conservation, and having, the more of the environmental science part of my background within education, certainly climate change is definitely a concern for me. I do worry about the future, and we need to take critical steps today to ensure, that wetland down the road from your neighborhood doesn't become a new subdivision. Or we need to, on a local level, we need to ensure that, that farm down the road from you isn't going to be turned into another Walmart parking lot. And so that way we're keeping our food locally, and then we're not increasing transportation to bring food in. So certainly, I definitely have concerns, although with those concerns, it doesn't diminish my belief that we can make change and that it's not too late to make change, although we do have to act.
That's right. Oh my God. When are you going to run for council or government, my love? Come on. Like, it's written all over your, it's there. It is really there. And you must have been asked this before. It's not just me. You must have been asked this before.
I do love leadership opportunities, and I do love serving my community and being a voice for others. As we mentioned before, when you wrote that article, you shared your experiences with the Alliston Herald. You have to sometimes be a voice for others. So in terms of, I think, running, it's definitely, it's crossed my mind. I think it's the time is right for myself, my family. But honestly, I don't know. I would like to possibly run that one day, but if there's another opportunity that I can serve my community and try to make improvements, whether that be in an elected office or not, I think I would choose whatever I believe can actually make the biggest impact for others.
Right. When you return to Alliston, my friend, I will be with you if you want to campaign, because my goal and my vision is to see more youth within presence of leadership within our community. It is so needed. It is so needed. I feel it's a great community. It is an awesome community, but there's always going to be more changes put in place. And on that note, we're going to be right back with Patrick Whitten. Love you guys. Right back.
After involving Nuha in this program, she feels very confident. Here you have a lot of opportunity.
I learned a lot of stuff, like being kind and I'm more open-minded.
My husband is a wonderful man and a great father when he's not drinking. I'm so angry he chooses alcohol over us. If he really loved us, he'd stop drinking, right? My counselor suggested I try Al-Anon. I didn't understand why. I'm not the one with the problem, but I'm glad I went. Do you worry about someone's drinking? You are not alone. Al-Anon or Alateen can help. Call 866-200-0033 or visit alanon.org/hope.
It gets you out into the community and you meet so many new people and experience so many new opportunities and builds my self-esteem and my confidence level. What I've learned here as a new volunteer is different skills that I thought I would never even be interested in learning. I'm Chantal McCush, and I am a Rogers TV volunteer.
Through United Way, I did a self-esteem course, training for peer support, and now I volunteer. It's a lesson that comes from the nature of doing work with the United Way that gives me a new lease on my life.
Originally from Alliston, born and lived here, but now working in northwestern Ontario. I had to look down and make sure I said that right. Oh my gosh, that was phenomenal, hon. And I love what you said when we digressed, when we went to commercial, and you said, whittled a little bit in your chair and you said, okay, I got some more to say about youth voices and importance. I just love how you went, hold on, we're not getting off this show until okay, so I'm going to do this and I'm going to go share from your heart, honey, what you just shared with me. Go for it.
For sure. I think, yeah, as we were kind of just chatting there, I think, with the challenges that I kind of identified, with the environment and with youth finding employment opportunities, especially now, I think with COVID-19 has created significant new challenges for our communities. And I think with that, we need energetic leadership, whether that be on town council, whether that be on the provincial level or at the federal level or on the school board level. I think now more than ever, we need energetic leadership to take on those challenges.
All right. So the next question, my love, is you emphasize the word energetic. I love that. Energetic. Why did you emphasize energetic?
I think because young people have, a strong passion and have that energy where they're not going to rest until they see things, until they see changes. I think a lot of young people are empathetic to the challenges that people are facing right now. That you see families out of work because of COVID-19, or whether it is mental health challenges or racism. I think a lot of young people they're able to connect and relate to others on a wide range of issues, and they really want to see changes, and they're not going to sit on the sidelines, and they're not going to sit by. They're going to make sure that their voice is heard, and they're going to make sure that their voice is heard until someone does something about it. And if someone's not going to do something about it, they're going to want a way to move folks aside and see those changes themselves. And, kind of, not to quote Gandhi, but it's probably one of my favorite quotes, is be the change that they wish to see in the world.
Mm-hmm. You touched me when we had the Skype interview, and I think you brought it up, not me. And you're all the way in Northwestern Ontario, and you've seen the article. How did you see the article? How did you see the article that I wrote about dealing with, and it was Brad from the Herald that approached me on it, because you love Alliston. Alliston is a good community. That article isn't all of Alliston. It's just a few of people. Well, how did that touch you? Because you really touched me when we talked on that pre-interview.
You're right. I think, it's not a reflection of Alliston as a community, although it's important for us to acknowledge that it exists. If we don't acknowledge that it exists, we can't even address the problem in itself. So I was on Twitter one day, and I followed the Alliston Herald, and the article came across my newsfeed there, and I gave it a read, and I wasn't surprised to see your name in the article at all, because you are such a strong voice for our community, but I was really touched and moved to hear your experiences. It troubled me a little bit. It's awful to hear that those in a community that you love so much. But I wasn't blindsided by it, because I do know, and like I said, it's important to acknowledge it. It's in every part of Ontario. It's in every part of this country. It's all across the world. But I think when I was reading, and if anything, what really jumped out to me was being thankful to have leaders like you in our community, who are able to use their voice and share those perspectives.
Thank you, hon. Thank you very, very much. You really touched me, because after I finished, I was all choked up, because I love you so much. And I can say that all the time. And if Cole was sitting right beside you, yes, Cole, I do love this man, because you speak with such heart, and you have a huge heart for the youth moving forward. Now, when you look at it as a change, what would you like to do? Because I'm getting inundated right now with people wanting to come on the show and talk about it, if it be racism or indifference or LGBT, Aboriginal, whatever. They want to see cultural change. They want to see embracement. So if you were in leadership here right now, what would you like to, what would you implement? What comes to your mind? Hold on, I'd like this to be put in. What would you do?
I think for me, the first thing to start is to ensure that we have those voices at the table, to ensure that we're hearing those perspectives, and whether that means, trying to get more representation from people of color on town council, whether it means maybe establishing committees to address racism and homophobia within the community. I think it really starts at lifting up the voices that aren't always heard or don't always have a seat at the table. And from there, I think, you can't really necessarily come up with a concrete plan that I'm going to do 1, 2, and 3 without listening to what folks in the community want to be their 1, 2, and 3 first. So I think really you'd have to sit down and you'd have to listen to more people. And hear those perspectives and hear those experiences and hear what they want to see and why and how we can achieve the changes that they want to see.
Would you be open on, now this is I'm inviting you, would you be open to do a Zoom or a Skype with me with several of you from the community on positive change and their thoughts and insight? Because Shelburne is doing it right now. Shelburne Mayor is doing it right now. He is doing it right now. He's getting a focus group together to talk about the indifferences that are not being embraced, the voices, and they're run by youth. Would you be open to that, Patrick?
Oh, absolutely, Joy. Absolutely. And whatever opportunity I get to have a conversation with you and get to have with other youth leaders, I seize that opportunity. So I would love that. I'd be over the moon about that.
Because you know something, when I'm listening to you now, you're intelligent, but you also have a passion for it, and there's a lot of young people out there, like I think it was 2 years ago, a young girl took her life at a school here in Banting. And I'm not branding the school, I'm branding the message on how she felt. Now we're dealing with racism. Now we're dealing with people that don't feel self-worth. And the mental health is a concern, if it be COVID, if it be not accepted, or if it just having a presence. And the importance of youth right now is so important, right? Anything else you'd like to embrace now? Because you got tons of time. It's all about you, hon. It's all about Patrick. Anything else you'd like to share? Like, I'm thinking outside of my head, but I'm wanting you to, in a sense, embrace what you would like to share right now. Anything else?
With folks in the community, I think I would just, I'd really just like to, share the message of positivity, that, you might feel alone right now. And I think you're not alone in feeling that. But just knowing that, we will get this together. We're going to get through this pandemic together. We're lucky to live in a beautiful country and a beautiful province that has excellent doctors and excellent first responders and excellent people working at our grocery stores and our stores keeping supply chains running. We're lucky to live in such a great country where we have each other's backs. So stay positive, take things one day at a time, and really take those small moments out to find the joy in things, whether that means calling up your grandmother on a FaceTime call and maybe teaching her to use FaceTime. Maybe it means going for a walk in a local park or something like that. But take those small moments out, when you're feeling down or when things are kind of bogging you down. Take those small moments of joy to just, remind yourself that, we're stronger than this and we're going to get through this. And I think as individuals, we're always stronger than we actually realize.
Yes. Yes. I love the way you say joy. Keep branding that name. Joy, 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 joy. Okay.
Joy.
So now your parents are out there with you. Your parents visiting. So what's that been like?
Oh, it's been awesome. So a couple days ago, they made the 2-day drive up to come visit me. So they're camping in the park right now. They brought one of my sisters. I have 4 sisters, but my sister Shannon, she has some time off of work right now. She works in a long-term care home in Alliston. But they're up visiting. They've got the dog visiting. So naturally, I'm just on cloud 9 right now. It's great to have them, and I wish I could spend more time with them. But I definitely cherish the time that I have right now and having them in the park. I think later today, when we get off the call, I think we're heading down to the beach together, and we're just gonna enjoy the nice sunny weather out on the beach together.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I don't want to miss asking you this, and I might have to do it really, really fast. How important, in one quick explanation, really, really fast, how important family is to you? How important?
It's the people that are always going to have your back. It's incredibly important. I know that every family is different, and not everyone has those supports, but family is the people you surround yourself with, whether it is, by blood, or whether it's friends, or whether it's extended family. But it's always the people that when you call in 2 a.m. in the morning, they're going to have your back, and they're going to figure out what they can do for you or how they can help you. I think that's really what family means to me at the core, is they're always there for you.
Awesome, honey. I can tell that you love your family so much, and that you embrace their time. Like when you light up and you talk about, my God, they're coming up. Have they gone any canoeing? Have they done anything with you special? We only got 15 seconds left, like not too much. But have they done anything special that they love with you?
Being up here so far, we went out on the boat yesterday, and so we went on the lake, went boating, and it was a nice sunny day. So to me, that was really special. I know my mom really enjoyed the boat, and the dog she was great in the boat. We thought she'd be a little bit nervous, but she was totally comfortable. So yeah, yesterday was a great day out on the lake.
Listen, the clock's ticking. I'm looking at the clock, looking at you. Love you lots. You're coming back. Thank you so much, Patrick. Love you, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks, Joy, and I love you so much back, and I'm so thankful to have you as a leader in the community and to be friends with you, Joy.
Thank you, sweetheart. Love you.